Hey, how are you?
Hey Mohan, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Finally, you're done with your PMP. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I mean, I'm feeling relaxed, relieved, definitely very happy that this is over, so I have extra time now. But definitely, yeah, I mean, it's been quite the ride with you. So it's been an amazing experience overall.
Wonderful. So I let you take your time, right? I didn't push you because normally I say, take the course and just do it, get it done, do some other important stuff. But you took your time, right? And
I
last time when I say, if I recall, we spoke in June, I guess. We had detailed discussion. And I was like, okay, you would be taking the exam next 15 days and then again and again. But thank God, finally, you're done with it. And thank you so much for the time. And I'm happy for your success. Yeah. And also, thank you for your time for this lessons learned session because this would be really helpful for people who would be watching. The interesting thing about this lesson learned session is that um, maybe this is helpful for people who are too occupied in other stuff, occupied in job and family and other commitments. So how to pass PMP exam when you have a lot of other stuff to do. So this is really
Yeah.
important for those people. Okay. So Mohan, how did you pass the exam? What was your exam preparation strategy?
So really, the strategy was, making sure I had the right content and I had started preparing before I joined your course, and I think it was in like March, right? February or March, somewhere around there. But then I felt like I was not preparing with the most up-to-date content, right? So I saw your YouTube videos and I really love them and the communication, interaction, and then also the feedback as to why some of the answers are wrong and here's the reason why it's right, kind of thing. So then I enrolled in your 4-day boot camp, and that's technically really when I still got started. Like you said, you kept following up, but then I kept delaying it, and falling off the bandwagon. In summer, I really wanted to take it in July, August, but then basically I kind of dropped it there. But then I picked it up again. And then, I saw some of the videos of people, you interviewing or talking to people before who had really passed and who were actually in the same class as I was in March. So I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe it's about time. So I'd basically gone through at this point the RMC, some of the twice actually, and then some of the quiz essentially at the back of the chapter, right? So I'd done that at least twice, and then the mock exams, etc. So I re-prepared myself, took the mock exam. Well, first I scheduled the exam like 1 week in advance. I was like, you know what, I'm going to just do this. I set the schedule. I set it up online, and then 1 week essentially I didn't do anything. I just prepped for it and went for it, and then took the test, and that's it. So
All right, wonderful. So how much time you actually spent in preparation? Like what was the study time?
so I'd say it'd be, if all put together, about 80 to 100 hours.
80 to 100 hours. Okay. And what was the reason that you took this much time? Were you not confident or were you too occupied or what's the reason?
Yeah, I think it was a combination. I was definitely not very confident that I would be able to make it, although I was getting, in the range of like 65 to 70%, and at times, 80%, right? But just a lot lack of confidence was maybe the primary reason. I think the lesson learned essentially is just be determined and just have confidence in yourself. And if you have prepared with the right material, the right people, and done all the mocks, etc., you can definitely do it. You just go and, have a little bit of faith and just go and schedule a test, and you can definitely do it. So somebody was just asking me like, "Hey, was the test hard or was it easy?" And I basically replied to him like, "It's basically how well you're prepared. If you prepare well, it'll be easy. If you don't, then it'll be hard, right?" So they might be reaching out to you for the boot camp. So
Perfect, perfect, absolutely. Okay, how many mock questions, practice questions did you solve?
so all four, right? So basically for the mock exams, I did all four. I actually did them twice. So I had some time in between. So I took the second time and I was getting, 70, 72, 75% ish. In one of the mocks, I think got like 78%. I was like, I'm at the borderline. I'll take it and then I'll go and actually schedule the exam.
All right. How important and relevant were our daily PMP live classes?
They're really good and very relevant. I like the fact that it was to the right content. It tested your concepts, and also some of the new things, right? Nuances to the concept which are not in anywhere, right? Any of those books, etc. So, what does that really mean? So I would write down after the daily classes as to what are the new concepts which I learned, which is not in the book or anywhere else, and kind of use that as a material to prep for my exam. So it was I'd say very very helpful for the for in preparing my exams.
All right. Do you think that reading book or any reference content is important for the exam?
Yeah, it is. It gives you a baseline, right? I mean, I read RNC, I believe twice. It definitely gives you the building blocks of knowledge. And once you have that, like example being, what does that change process look like once you go before you go to CCB and after, right? What does that sequential process look like, et cetera? Those are some of the things that you intuitively would not know based on your professional knowledge. It's definitely something very, even process knowledges and some of the other things which are there. Those are some of the things that really are important, which you get from a book perspective. But reading a book, but then, I have in my work experience typically handled predictive, right? So I had zero knowledge about agile, adaptive, incremental, iterative, etc. Even in pharmaceutical, which I'm in now, they are starting to implement like hybrid methodologies, for regulatory aspect, but then how do we also do project management using evolving requirements, etc. So I think that is really good, and I didn't have experience on that aspect, so definitely gave me some of the building blocks and knowledge in terms of agile and adaptive process.
All right. Can you please shortlist some of the important topics which students should focus on?
Uh, for the just in general or the exam
Yeah,
purposes.
from exam perspective, what are the topics where you saw a lot of questions or which are really important for the exam as compared to others?
Yeah, I think from a process perspective, definitely I saw in the exam there was a lot of, oh, we're doing this, all of a sudden we need to change. So what are some of the change control aspects of the project management? You need to be very familiar with it. Some of the agile concepts, and also, from a leadership perspective, right, the people's domain aspect of it. So essentially, it covered all the three domains. So you have to be very, you have to definitely understand which domain it applies to, and then what is that knowledge base it applies to, and then use that.
All right. Was there anything in the exam that we couldn't discuss during the course or in the mock tests?
No, I felt like the exam, the the mocks were a little tougher, right? I like that concept because it prepares you for the toughest aspect of the exams, but then you go to the exam and it is relatively easier, right? I mean, you're like sometimes reading the question, like, is this really how simple this is? But it was that simple. So I was like, all right, so I'll take the simple questions, right? So yeah, that's the exam I would say was easy. Again, relatively based on how prepared I was for for the exam to be tougher if there was. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was easy because you prepared really well. You did every possible thing to, crack the exam. All right. Okay. How did you manage your time during the exam? Was it easier or difficult, or how did you do that?
It was actually on the dot. I took for the first session, I took the two breaks. So for the first session, I took 80 minutes, for the second, 75, and my last was 75. And literally, I had maybe five, or I'd say 4 or 3 seconds remaining when I answered the last question in the exam. So I was basically at the dot. I think the
Okay.
second session, I was able to complete, I was supposed to take 75 minutes, but I was able to complete in like 73 minutes. So I had 2 minutes
73.
remaining.
Were you confident that you're going to pass the exam when you were taking the exam, or what were your feelings?
Yeah, I was not very confident. So I would say I was confident that I'm there were questions I think I marked in each duration. I marked about 2 or 3 questions, for review. But overall, I think I was fairly confident that I'd be able to pass it. But then I was able to, at least in the first and the second sessions where I had a little bit extra time, I was able to go back and review my markups and clear those. But overall, I'd say I was very, confident that I'd be able to pass it. But definitely very nervous too. Like you didn't get the results after you hit submit for like 24 hours. I would be checking my emails every, you know, half an hour trying to see like, hey, is there anything? So definitely nervous, just the waiting period of getting those results.
So you took the exam online at home.
Yes.
All right. And how was your experience with the online exam?
It was good. I mean, I think it was just normal. I did the check-in. You could take pictures, 4 pictures from all 4 sides of your desk, submit it on the phone, and then the proctor comes in online. They say hi, hello, and then they make you check your ID, and basically they say, okay, we're releasing your test. And I said, okay. And then that was it. So it started. You basically have to be, obviously, you have the camera on and you're looking at things, but you can't leave that zone of the camera, and you have to make sure that you're in the vision of the camera, right? So that's one of the big rules. So as long as you're doing that, you're fine. So yeah, I had no issues. Everything was great. And then I was able to submit it.
All right. Wonderful. Mohan, last question. Any advice for the PMP aspirants?
I'd say, a lot of people ask like, "Hey, what's the formula?" I'd say, the last step is really important. Just have a little bit of faith in yourself once you're prepared. I'd say give yourself 5 weeks to seven, excuse me, 5 days to 7 days, and just book the test. Last 7 days, prep for it, just go for it, and then take the test. Be confident in yourself.
All right, wonderful. So if I summarize, Mohan took my course, then he attended almost all our daily live PMP class. He was the most consistent and regular attendee of our Q&A session. And then he solved around 1,000 plus practice questions. He read books. So he did every possible thing. So very extensive study he did. So once again, congratulations, Mohan. I'm really happy. I was actually waiting for your success because we have been working on this for since February or March. So great. Thank you so much. And yeah, stay in touch. I'm just a text away. Whenever you need to discuss anything, I'm just a text away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Amar. Really, you've been helpful. And not just aspects of delivering the content, but also following up as, I was like, hey, did you take the test? Did you register? So all those things. So really thank you for your efforts too. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Mohan. Congratulations. Enjoy your success.
Thank you. Have a good one.